And then when you get to the real world and you're just going to pick up some Burger King, are you really going to like him as much?
That's what I think is the issue with like this show in general. Is there's just
And
so
Love is
much
Blind.
there's just so much of this insane luxury living that I think a lot of these people are not going to get access to.
Welcome to A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph, yes, welcome back. Time for another episode of The Bachelor.
as you put your headphone string behind your back.
Yeah.
Yes, it's time for another episode recap of The Bachelor. This time we're going over episode 4 with Grant.
Yes, we are talking about Grant and the women being in Madrid, Spain.
Yes.
They are traveling abroad.
Yes, and it's so exciting for them. So we will go through all of those details. But first, how have you been since our last podcast episode?
Yeah, how's everyone doing? Is everyone swell?
Well, I was asking you too.
Oh. Yeah, I'm doing dandy. I'm doing well like a lion and a dandy.
What does that mean?
To make a dandy lion.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was
That's crazy.
deep.
Yeah. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I made it up on the spot.
That is really ridiculously crazy that you just did that.
It was pretty bad.
Wow. No, I like it. That was pretty good. Pretty good. But yeah, we hope that you all are doing great as well. And if you are watching Love is Blind, please join us on that journey of recapping that as well. So we are now recapping 2 shows at once, The Bachelor and Love is Blind.
Yeah, so much love.
So much love. People looking for love, some people finding love, some people not finding love, some drama.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Some happy tears, some sad tears.
Yes. But we hope you will stick with us for the recap ride of those 2 shows. But this was exciting to get back to The Bachelor 2 and start whittling down Grant's choices. And eventually we will see for sure who makes his top 4 soon. So that's exciting.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there were some things that happened here. I mean,
some things that happened here. Yeah, so let's talk about those
some
things.
stuff happened.
Yeah, let's talk about those
it's
things.
pretty good.
Well, like you mentioned, we learned that everybody's going to Madrid, Spain in this episode. Jesse tells everybody when he first walks in. That's how the episode opens up.
Yeah, I was almost thinking too. Well, I'm sure they probably take that private jet that they took to Vegas, but because they're, he tells them that, and then it's like, well, you got to get ready. There's an hour. Plane takes off in an hour. And then
your private jet takes off in an hour.
Yeah, but I first started thinking, I was like, how does this work? You need to show up at the airport 2 hours in advance. You have an hour left. They haven't even packed yet. This
What airport?
And I was like, oh yeah, of course they have this private jet.
Yeah, actually, no, I wonder, did they go?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But this was overseas, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't know.
How could they just take the private jet? Was it big enough for everybody?
Yeah, there's only like 10 of them. That private jet is looks like a 15 to 20 person.
Yeah, but what about all the producers and everybody else?
Yeah. They probably maybe got 2 of them.
Well, like you mentioned, we are down to 10 women now at the start of this show. So time is flying.
Well, and the other thing is Jesse said he's already there. So
yeah, he left. Maybe all the production people went with Grant.
Right.
Most of them.
Yeah, I mean, some had to stay back for this, but
yeah,
they did like a split up.
There was no footage of them going to Spain. They just were there.
Well, because I mean, there's
sometimes they show them like getting on the plane or something, but
well, I think they did that because Grant was there when they were getting on the plane. without Grant there, there's no
Do you think there was any plane drama that they didn't show?
maybe a little, but
Maybe they just never show people
yeah, I don't
making
think
trips
that's
like that.
the focus.
They get told they're going to Spain. They go hurry up and pack their bags. And then the next shot we see is Jesse and Grant, and they're playing basketball in Spain and talking to each other.
Yes, which I guess at this point the girls are already there, since Jesse had to tell the girls.
Oh, right. And then all of a sudden he was there
But
with
then he's
Grant.
there, yeah.
So
But
unless he
yes,
cloned himself, then
yeah,
he must be there at this point.
yeah. It was one of those fake skin suit things. But yeah, so he's there.
How many Jessies are
They
there?
talk about just being in Madrid and what he hopes to achieve here.
Yeah. So then Grant makes a big announcement that Dina is going on the one-on-one date today. So this is how he greets the ladies. He's like, "Hey, everybody, thanks so much for coming to Spain. By the way, Dina, let's go. Surprise." And Dina's like, "Oh, well, I didn't know I was going on this one-on-one date, or maybe I could have prepared."
Yeah, I mean, they have. Well,
But how much more can you prepare? Just come ready at this point.
well, I mean, it's already. This has clearly been the format, right? Like, it's like two people get one-on-ones.
Yeah, but
and
I
then
guess
there's a group date.
there's like a
Or-
date card where you do get to relish in it. You're like, "Oh, I'm going on the one-on-one. Let me go get ready." And
Yeah, I guess they didn't have that before. This was totally
this was
a
like
little
on
more
the streets
spontaneous.
of Madrid.
Yeah,
They said, you're coming with me."
but maybe he wanted to try to do. Well, I don't know. He did also. He talked about how Dina is very meticulous and organized and very like regimented and
Well, that's why she's probably
what
caught
she's
off
doing.
guard.
Yeah, well, and I think that was almost why he even made it more spontaneous like that. Then,
That's
because it was to throw
true.
her off guard and then
To see how
actually
she
to
react.
see just the fun side of her, which is what he was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So they start their date. They're strolling down the streets, and then they run into some children playing soccer. Which, do you think this was like a casual run-in, or these were,
no, that was planned.
well,
That
definitely
was part of
planned?
it. Was the play because that's a big thing.
But
And
they made it look like, "Oh, look, some boy is playing soccer. You guys should go join them."
yeah.
But yeah, all of it was planned. So like the soccer playing, they did that on the streets. And then Dina's playing soccer with like a jacket draped around her shoulders, which looked a little hard
Yeah, I
to
didn't
do.
really understand that. Someone of the producers should have been able to.
Take the jacket.
Yeah.
It's like, can nobody hold this?
Yeah. But then it was like this was almost just like a part 2 of sports with children.
Yeah, it's more children time, more sports time. Let's see how Dina does
But it
with
was
these children. And then she
yeah.
was a shining star with the children.
Yes. Well, they play real football.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So they did that. Then they run into a bunch of couples dancing. So then they start dancing on the streets. And what did you notice this dance? Or what'd you think of the dancing skill of the people?
of like the bystanders. I mean, it was more of just like it didn't seem very. It was just more of like a slow style. They didn't show enough of it to really.
It just looked like a just step around in a circle type of thing.
Yeah, I don't think it was like any particular style.
Yeah,
because
it
I mean, there are styles in Spanish.
Did you think they could do something more here, or
Oh, yeah, but I think it would have looked weird if they were.
they're barely moving, I guess is what I meant to say here. But
Yeah, but even the couples around them were very. Like everyone was just. That was just.
still
That was
almost not
the-
moving.
Yeah, that was just the vibe. I don't like.
The
say- I
vibe
don't like
was-
saying vibe. But
That was the vibe and the
I'm
feeling,
not a Gen Zer.
the energy that they were giving off was still,
Yeah.
was barely moving.
Yeah, I mean, it was just.
Wow, I don't think I've ever heard you say, "Well, that's the vibe that they were giving off."
That was the only word, probably because of video I watched earlier, but that was the
Yeah.
only word coming to like that was just the atmosphere. There we go.
He's
That
learning Gen Z language now.
yeah, it was just the atmosphere of the at that moment because the
Yeah.
music was very soft and slow and just it was just a
No, I think it was
sensual
nice.
moment
It
for
was nice,
the
but
couples. Yeah.
you noticing dance moves, I thought you would have critiques about this, but
Oh no, I mean there really wasn't there. I mean I looked at first, but yeah, there was nothing there.
it's probably because they were barely moving.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in general too. I'm not super familiar with
The barely moving dance.
Spanish dances.
The
Latin
barely
ballroom's
moving.
different from like Spanish
They
dancing.
weren't moving that much.
Correct.
So they go to this place called the Store of Wishes, and on the wall there's a lot of papers, and people have written down what they secretly hope for on these papers. So then Dina and Grant take a piece of paper and write down their wishes for their life, and wow, it turns out that they write down the same exact things, that they both wish for a spouse and children.
Yeah, Dina like really focused in on this and was like, "Wow, we didn't even look at each other's card and we wrote down the same thing."
We both
But
want a
it's like,
happy life, spouse and children.
yeah, you're traveling for this show to find love, to have a family.
There's children on all of these dates.
I mean, sure, I guess maybe the children was like the little of the wild card if there was any.
There are children on a lot of the dates, and he mentions a lot that
Yeah,
he
I
would
mean
like.
they've already discussed. I mean, he's already mentioned he wants a lot of, or at least children, and then
A
she has
lot of
two.
children.
But yeah, I don't know about that, but he's at least stated that he has one.
Is that
Wants
the vibe
children.
he's giving off, that he wants a lot of children?
So, but yeah, this wasn't. I don't know. You'd be like, oh, this is wow, like this is great. We're feeling the same way in this moment. It's like, come on,
We're basically the same person.
you're yeah.
Wow.
I would have been more shocked to have seen you not line up.
Yeah, if
But then it
she
would have just
said
looked strange then at that
something
point.
different.
But
What if she was, her card just said, I want to be successful in my career, career. And then his
yeah,
was, I want to have a beautiful life and
yeah, like I
build
mean that
upon my
would have
family.
been
Yeah, then that would have been
that
troublesome.
would have been worse than
But she didn't go on a show called The Career. She went on a show called The Bachelor.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this was a easy this was a easy play to get right.
Yes. So they then go on a boat, and Grant does all of the paddling, and Dina says, this is really hard for me to watch you do all the work here. Usually I'm the one doing all the work. So she wanted to help paddle, but she had to restrain herself.
Right, yeah, because I mean she's well, I guess she states kind of this episode that she's very like I was just saying earlier, drill oriented and regimented and wants to help. Well, and too, I guess because she does mention too, she likes to be more of like a giver, and that's how she shows love and wants to help by doing things. So her sitting back, but he's the same way. So then it kind of they're both off, which I think is nice. I mean, they're both just offering to help, but
Yeah, they're
but
both givers. They both like to help. They both
yeah,
like to do things
yeah,
for people. So he even said, like, wow, this is different. Like, I don't think I've ever thought about being in a relationship where it's 50-50. We're both helping each other and putting forth equal effort into things. So,
yeah, right, yeah. I mean, it's just more give and take at that point versus just all giving, which is good.
right. Yeah. So then they go to dinner, and they talk about Tina being very regimented, like you said at dinner. And Grant says, oh, you remind me of my mom in a good way. I guess his mom is very detailed and likes to be on a schedule and that type of thing too. And then Dina says, I'm typically known as the ice queen because I hold back a lot in my relationships. And she opens up to Grant about her not really talking about her feelings growing up. She says she was one in 11 children and her family just didn't openly share things with each other. So that's something that she's working on.
Yeah. Yeah. She mentioned, and I think earlier, one of the talking heads, she mentioned that, showing or expressing feelings was almost shown as like a sign of weakness and what she was familiar with. So, yeah, she has to kind of work on that. And
Which I think that's good for her to be honest about that. And Grant appreciates that honesty. And so she opened up with that about herself. But then she asks Grant, hey, you had a 7-year long relationship. What went wrong there? And then,
yeah,
did you find that shocking that she asked him that?
I think she was just direct and wanted to. I mean, I think it. I mean, I think that would probe any of the girls' minds about
Yeah, they would be questioning
what
that.
happened there. Because one, why was it so long like that, and then two, what made it fall apart? So
Right. She says that's a pretty long relationship. And he says, yeah, it was. Um, and he basically said it was his fault, really, for the relationship ending because he didn't put forth the time and effort into the woman, but he was more so focused on his career, which I think he's talking about basketball here.
yeah, well, maybe, yeah, that or the
Day
singing
trading.
singing career.
Day trading. His gambling career and day trading.
Yeah,
Do you think he was talking about day trading?
no.
But he says he learns lessons, valuable lessons with that.
Well, yeah, well, and he explained, and he did it because he thought really he was just trying to set up financial stability for him and her. I don't think. I guess she didn't understand that, or maybe it was just too much to where it just wasn't worth it. So it was this.
Sounds like maybe she missed him a lot and he didn't spend all the time he had with her. Instead, it was focused on trying to build the career and the money.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I guess if it was taking all that time, then she's probably too of where it's just, is it ever going to happen if it's taking this long? I guess.
right.
But so anyway, yes, yeah, that's
So that was good. They both shared things about each other that they know they're actively working on
yeah,
too. So, and then we see a live singer and a guitar player, and they dance and they seem to have a really great date. And then he gives Dina the rose.
yes. Well, it's also more prom dancing here.
Yeah, what did you think about this dance?
This
Was
was
it
worse.
this was worse?
Well, it's just it was.
I thought Grant was like super stiff and barely moving in the first one.
I mean, both of them. They were just like the exact same. So I don't know when they had the music come, and it's just like, oh, it's just like just a 2.0 of. There's no difference of.
I
But
can't
I
believe you
guess
said
it's
this was
just.
worse. I can't
Well,
believe
I don't
it.
know about worse, but I would just
They
say
looked
the
like
same.
robots
It was
in the
the
first one.
same. Not any, which is fine. I mean, I don't think probably either of one are familiar with this like a some type of slow dance. I was gonna say a form of ballroom or even
Right.
Latin ballroom or something.
Yeah, well
But
this is fine. It is fine.
yeah,
But I didn't think it was worse. I thought the first
well,
one was
yeah, no,
worse, but
I don't know if worse was a great. I
we
would
need
say
to
the
go back
same.
and replay the first one for you. I need you to take a second look at that.
All right.
But yeah. So they seem to have a good connection.
Yeah, no, I'd say theirs is going strong and probably one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were talking about, oh, I haven't gotten my one-on-one time yet with them and stuff. And I almost would rather have the one-on-one time later on. I think that would be better because I almost think,
Rather than being Alex and you have it off the bat.
Yeah, unless you can try to, you can really have the connection play well and then it stays strong. But I almost think it'd be later because I almost would think, and maybe it's different with all the guys, but I would almost think the ones that I'd almost be more interested in or think that would be better, I would wait to hold off until later on. But the ones I'm not so sure about, I'd go ahead and just do those right off the bat to see if there's anything, and then
Right.
those that I think I might have a better shot with.
Yeah, because also it's probably hard to maintain a good relationship if you
Yeah.
started at the beginning and then you're just waiting to get a second date with them. And then like a week or two or whatever goes by, then are you forgotten at that point or does that ruin anything?
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about the second one on one date he had with Serafina.
Yes. So they go and do a form of bungee jumping, I guess. And
There's
it,
so many dates of jumping off tall
yeah, what is the
heights.
theme of him having all of these height jumping
It
relationships?
didn't even look like he wanted to do this. He looked petrified.
Yeah, I mean he looks apprehensive for both both events, because with Carolina he did the, which is funny because I was like, oh, this was like some safe version of like a bungee jump or something because it was like a controlled setting of the fall, where this was actually like a real, just a free fall.
He was probably like thankful for the controlled fall of the Carolina
Yeah, it
date.
was like a warm up to this one. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Unless he really was driving because he was like, oh, this whole thing is about, taking a leap of faith and falling in love. And like, I don't know. He was like, but he's doing this with like all of them. So it's very,
But yeah, he is.
maybe the trend will stop next episode, but it's still,
Well, he was asking the person in charge what's the survival rate of jumping off this bridge and
well, yeah, her answers were great actually. It was, you know, how many times? Well, especially too, it's like how many times have we done this in the rain? It's like a couple days. Have you ever had anyone be unalive through this experience? And she was like, "Oh, the last group survived."
yeah, this was him being really scared. But yeah.
Yeah, but then he was freaking out, like not freaking out, but I mean he was very just unsure about
And
this.
then he said, "Oh, well, it's raining too." And that adds another element to my worry.
Yeah, I was worried about like slipping and falling, but I don't know, you take the two steps and then you're set. I mean,
It did look really scary though.
what was weird about it was they were like together when they went. Now it wasn't like I said. I thought this was like the type of bungee jumping where you jump and then it has a very elastic band, or you just kind of go straight down and then you spring back up and then you know rock back and forth until you come to a stop, and then they lower you down. But this one, they went and then it was just like a pendulum swing where they kind of fell, but the rope held them and swung them across.
So they jumped off a bridge.
So they went together, but they at the same time, and
They were like tied up together too.
right. Like I'd almost be, and I mean they have the helmets or something, but like where they bump into each other or something. But I guess with the rock, it's more of a controlled where they wouldn't do that. Where the straight up and down, that impact at the bottom where they'd be bumping heads or something.
Right.
But yeah, they did it together. But then well, I guess either way, but yeah, upside down the whole time, swinging back and forth. That was interesting. But
Yeah. And then they finally collected them and got them off the ropes
yes, safely.
before they had all the blood rush to their head upside down forever.
Yeah, that was. I was like, wow, they really just hanging out like that for a while.
Yeah. So another height date. But after the date, they go to dinner. And then Grant says, I feel some hesitancy from you. You're not going all the way when you're kissing me. So I just wondered, if that meant you didn't like me. And then she said, "Oh, no, no, no. Doesn't mean that at all. It's just because my mother watches this show."
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. And yeah, which is relatable. And
Well, it's relatable, but then also you signed up to go on the show. You should probably give things your all. It's going to come off like like you aren't fully invested, right? If you're pulling back or
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. And then while we were watching this, you said, I would never do this on this show. What'd you say? If you were on the show,
Well, this is,
you
I
would be
mean,
Serafina pulling back.
I'd never be on one of these shows to begin with, but
But if you were,
yeah, I would have probably been in the same boat.
there's no. I don't know. So then Grant goes, oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. And that's it.
Yeah, but then she at least shows him a little bit shortly after the dinner that, nothing's holding her back from that aspect.
So she didn't look repulsed when she was kissing him after the dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she said, "Sorry, Mom." So
But during the dinner, she confides in Grant and says that she grew up with a single mother raising her and really opens up to him. He appreciates it, and then he gives her the rose.
yes, which you were talking about, the rose just sits on the table
Right in front of you,
during them
staring
the
at
whole
you.
time.
Yeah.
Where,
So much pressure on it.
where, unless I guess the date is just gonna completely go awry or
Who doesn't get this
something.
rose?
Right? Like, when would he just say, "All right, see you later," and like not not offer the rose?
Or saying, like, even if the date like went well, do you think there's a shot he wouldn't give out the rose if there just wasn't a good chemistry between them?
Yeah, I would still say maybe he could at this point. I don't know.
I feel like
It's still early enough. I feel like
if they opened their heart and soul and then said, "Oh yeah, I came from a terrible family background and all these crazy things happened to me," then he would end it by saying, "Oh, okay, bye."
yeah, I mean, I think that would be very hard
I feel like you're
to break the news
required to
that.
give it if the person breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard not to give it.
You are required to give out that rose if they open up their heart and soul. Unless there's a way you could be like, "Hey, honestly, like that was so nice of you to open up to me, but I feel like we're more like friends. So I'm gonna have to, not give you this rose, and then we're just gonna have to wait until the elimination ceremony."
Yeah.
Maybe that has happened before. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was
But
saying,
why would we even wait for the elimination ceremony? That to me would spell out, okay, yeah, I'm probably going home.
right.
Right?
Yes, yeah. Well, you
Or
actually
maybe they just walk out at that
well,
point.
I
Maybe they
actually
just leave.
yeah, I mean, I actually just had a flashback. I was originally saying, "Oh, well, Pascal left," but I mean, it was on his accord. But you did actually have the one-on-one with, I can't remember if Joan was giving out roses on the one-on-one dates, but you did have the one-on-one with her and Mark. And then, I mean, the next day, right? She told him, I don't think it's gonna
Did
work.
he get a rose?
No, but I don't remember if she was giving roses on the one-on-ones for them or not.
I thought there was one with Keith that was questionable as well.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he got the rose after that.
but I don't remember. But I guess they would have. I don't know. I'd
I
have to
don't
go
know.
back and watch that now. But
Let's go back and
anyway,
recap it again.
that just popped into my head of maybe.
Yeah.
But one that kind of really, I mean, she knew after that, like, it wasn't really going to be it. So maybe not even right then, but at least it was like the next day, just, hey,
Well, I heard something that Joan basically knew the whole time she was really into chalk. I think she knew for everybody. It's like, I just have
yeah, right.
to keep this going. But
Yeah.
I think she said she knew by Disneyland that date that it was chalk.
Yeah, but that was the first,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess so. Anyway. Yes,
Anyway,
moving on.
so let's talk about the group date. The group date involved Alex, Lydia, Carolina, Natalie, Rose, Parisa, Zoe, and Juliana. And on this group date, it's all about bulls.
Yeah, so they see a matadora, and she kind of gives them the culture and history of the art of bullfighting.
They
And
ride up to see the matadora
right,
on
yes, that's true.
on
They take a travel on donkey back to reach their destination first.
and
And
Carolina's in the back and she says, "Oh yeah, I just love being in the back, not near Grant at all because my donkey's slow."
yeah, but then they showed in like one scene where it was running fast ahead of at least one of them, and she was like, "Oliso, Oliso," but
Yeah,
it
I
kept
don't know.
going. But then it was like he was just trailing in the back the whole time or something.
But also before this group date, Carolina sarcastically says to the camera, "Oh, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this group date. I can't wait to see the man that I'm trying to go after kiss other women and be together with other women. It sounds great."
Well, yeah. So this is the big drama of this. Well, a continuation that she's still the big drama of this episode with the whole thing, because
Yes.
there is a conversation, with them all saying, "Oh, I really haven't had any one-on-one time," and she really hijacked the whole time before the last ceremony with her whole issues.
Right.
So everyone was still a little, upset about that,
Oh, and
and
the drama continues on that we'll talk about after this
right.
bull date, too.
But this first discussion of the one-on-ones, people were saying that, and then she chimes in saying, "Oh yeah, I feel like I haven't had enough time, even though I really can't say that because I've had probably the most one-on-one time out of anyone."
Yeah, so the other women are insulted that she's saying that.
Yeah, so this already was like lingering on their minds. But
Right.
yes, we'll get
Well,
into the where
right.
it gets more exacerbated. But
Well, the episode opens up. They're talking about prom night and how that was hijacked by Carolina and Rose drama that Carolina started to talk about there. So,
yes,
but in this bull date, they learn how to be a matadora, and Grant comes in with a bull head on a wheelbarrow, and he's riding it into each woman, and they're holding up the red capes to try to show that they know about these things. And then it's time for them to change into their Matadora suits, and Grant changes into his Matador suit. And then Carolina says to the camera, I think Grant may have had a bigger budget than the women for the clothing attire because he looks really great and our clothing looks like it came from Halloween Express." So
yeah, I didn't
I
get
didn't know there
that.
was a drastic difference between the
No, I thought they
two.
looked pretty much the same.
Well, a couple of them were complaining about it. Rose says that she looks like Mickey Mouse
I
in
guess
it.
it was because too you saw the Matadora, she was wearing the blue, like the same. Her outfit seemed more to resemble like what Grant was wearing, I guess, and maybe the women had this one that was, I guess, in their mind left field that they didn't like, but
Or they felt it looked cheap.
yeah,
And I'm surprised the producers let this air because they
yeah,
were in charge of the outfits.
yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, I don't think they probably were. I would imagine they were probably authentic, but
I
so
wonder
that
if
was
they
almost
got them from Halloween
like
Express.
a jab at a jab at the material used to make it.
Halloween Express?
Yeah, I don't think it was Halloween Express. I don't think they have that in Spain.
No, they imported it from the US.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
guess maybe.
the big challenge here was riding a mechanical bull. So each woman had to show how long they could stand a mechanical bull. And then everybody did it pretty authentically. And then we got down to Alex and she grabbed onto the horns of the bull, which we kind of talked about. Is that cheating? Because would you get to do something like that?
Yeah, this was weird because I mean, you would, you know, if it was a real one, you'd never do that. And even in like the mechanical bulls I've seen at like events around here or whatever, you have to do it like traditionally. I mean, it's usually actually no, I take it back. They'll let you hold two hands on the saddle, but actually, I think in like competitions, it's only one hand
I think
allowed.
you're right on the one hand because not that this is like officially or
Well,
anything.
I just know because I mean you always
You
see the
hold
one
up the one
hand,
hand,
right?
right? But on Rock of Love, Heather rode a bull and she was holding up the one hand, I think.
Yeah,
So it has to be official.
but yeah, I mean I know the one hand is in competition. It is a thing, but obviously this is not like a real. So I would imagine at least just having the two is enough,
So then,
or fine.
right.
But she just because then it's just like you just hunker down and you're like totally latched onto this. There's really no ability of writing at that point because you're just hunkered
You're way
down.
more secure on it. It gives you a way
Yeah,
better shot of holding on for a longer amount of time.
right. I mean, you could basically hold on forever until your arm strength and leg strength gives out.
And for Alex, that was 47 seconds.
Yeah,
But I mean, I guess it's not cheating when you're not told you can't do this, right? So
right. They didn't make any like official rules, but I do think it almost gave. I guess if you came up with I guess, but it's almost like a disadvantage for the girls who went before, especially because then we see Zoe who goes after her or Zoe, and
then she steals
yeah, she does the
Alex's
exact same
technique
thing.
and lasts for longer. And then
Yeah,
she ends up winning. And
which was
Alex is
weird. They
mad.
didn't even show her score.
Yeah, it's so weird. I wonder how much longer than 47
Yeah,
seconds. We will never know.
right. Yeah, it was very weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But then it almost like gave it away too, and they're like, "And the winner is," because I guess since they didn't. Well, I guess it could have gone either way, but yeah, it was weird. At least they didn't say in the winner with so and so seconds, or
Yeah, I don't understand why
Zoe
they didn't
with how
share
many
that.
seconds. I don't know, I'm just kind of curious because it's like, how much longer did she really hold on? But
Yeah, I'm curious. But she gets special time with Grant now because she won, which the special time seemed like a quick drink with Grant, and it really wasn't that long of an amount of time.
yeah, it doesn't really. I mean, they do have one little pan out shot, and that was it. So I don't know. Maybe it was just the one thing, or maybe it was for the rest of the night. But nothing great was said, so they figured they didn't
That was it.
have to film it or air it. But
But then later, she does sit with Grant for a little bit as all the women are getting some one on one time with him at night. And she opens up to Grant. She starts crying. She says she was adopted and she's always felt like the black sheep. And Grant likes that she opened up to him. So it was like finally him getting to see an emotional side of Zoe.
yeah, because he mentions she's always stoic and not really hasn't really opened up yet. So he's kind of looking to see more of that soft side
Right.
to her first. Just the rigid.
Well, let's talk about his talking head interview, what you said, as he's wearing the same outfit of when he was talking to Zoe. So he's like talking to the
Oh.
camera with a 5 o'clock shadow.
Well, yeah, this was weird. So he's in like this pastel green suit jacket, and he's talking to the girls, and then he does the talking heads. But if you see the talking heads, he's got like a 5 o'clock shadow going on, and in the shots where he's talking with the girls, he's got nothing, besides his little uh, goatee thing. He-
How fast
there,
can he grow a beard?
it's clean shaven. So it's like clearly this shot must have been taken like much later on or
You're
something.
saying it's not in real time?
No, I don't know. Unless the guy's got like superhuman growing hair ability, where in 5 hours he can. Which I guess there are some people who grow it quick, but
That seems really quick.
I don't know. It seemed very quick. Just the difference because I first saw his talking head, I was like, well, what happened? He looks like he forgot a razor, but I don't know.
Imagine they like woke him up in the middle of the night and they're like, "We didn't get this shot from you. Hurry up, put back on that green jacket that you wore, and let's get your
Yeah.
interview." Yeah, so that was interesting. But let's dig into all the Carolina drama that happened. So we see Juliana bringing Carolina outside and telling her how the whole group is feeling. And she asks her, why are you here? And your words aren't settling well with everybody in the house. And she says you should really pick your words carefully moving forward because the women are kind of upset that you are being negative, you're complaining, but yet you've had one-on-one time with him. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess she keeps bringing this up, and I don't know. I guess she doesn't have the you know not common sense, but just like ability to sense that especially when you're talking about this stuff, that it's agitating for the other women, and but then she did almost take it like a step further. I feel like with this one, because she does kind of say, well, I'm not totally sure. This is all kind of weird, doing this so fast and everything.
yeah, and she says I've been on one-on-one date and I'm supposed to think about having him meet my parents.
Yeah, which I mean, is not the whole point of the. I mean,
This is the show. It's the show.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's 30 seasons in or whatever. I mean, you should know what you're getting signed up for, but it's just the constant talking about it is, I think, very frustrating for the other girls. So I mean, yeah, Juliana finally kind of has her wits end about it and has a one-on-one talk with her.
Yes.
And just kind of says, hey, just be a little more mindful of what you're saying, because you complaining about having, you know, unsure about your relationship versus a lot of us who haven't even gotten as much time with him as you have is not great for us to hear.
Carolina is not happy about this. She goes back inside with Juliana. They sit back with the women. And then Carolina openly says, I'm all ears if anyone has anything to say to me at this point. And then they all really have something to say to her. I think Rose chimes in, Parisa says something, Zoe, Juliana again.
Yeah, I think it was just mainly more so to, I guess, back up what Juliana was saying
Right. So
through
everybody's
Carolina.
basically saying, yes, you have been negative.
Yeah.
And then Grant comes in and he's all chipper and he has no idea what was just said. And he comes in with the rose ready to give it out. And then he looks over and Carolina's crying. And he's like, oh, are you okay? And he's like, okay, I think I need to pull Carolina aside and talk to her. So then the women are really mad now because the rose that he was about to give out is no longer being given out.
Yeah. Which then it was him pulling her to the side just create even more, and then it just, I don't know, I don't know, that was a great move by him or not,
Okay,
but
well, yeah, we were talking about this, but if you were to come in all chipper and then someone was sobbing and you're going to give out a delightful rose and continue on your chipper way, like I don't think you can really do that without addressing why someone's so incredibly upset.
yeah,
But
I don't know, I guess, yeah, I don't know, yeah,
but
yeah,
to not give out the rose at all, I would think like, yeah, sure, maybe go talk to her, calm her down, then go back and give out the rose. But then he just wasn't in the mood to give out the rose at all after that.
yeah. Well, he came into this, well, I've got a lot to think about, but then he even came out and there was like a talking head a little bit later on where he says I was gonna pick Rose anyway. That,
To get the rose.
yeah, who wasn't even like in the drama at this point.
But then he said, I have a lot to think about, so I'm not giving this out. And then Juliana apologizes to the group of women, saying, if some of this is my fault, I'm sorry. And so he says, it is not your fault, because they all want to blame Carolina.
This was also the other thing is like, I guess everyone made their, everyone got or is fine with Zoe now because she's like the
Oh,
friend
right,
now.
right,
Where
right.
before, like the first episode, everyone hated her. She was like the one that everyone was
Because she
having
took him away for
frustrations
that
with.
time. Yeah.
And now she's like one of the girls.
Well, she probably latched on once she saw how much everyone was
Maybe.
really not liking Carolina. She's like, yeah, we really don't like this.
Yeah, it was easy to become part of the bigger group.
Yeah, she's no longer hated. She's like a popular person now
Yeah.
that people love. And she's backing everybody up. She's backing Juliana up.
I mean, I guess a lot of it too is almost more so like Allie Joe was the main adversary.
Oh, and
which
she
now that
left.
she's gone.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I feel like
that's true.
Juliana was a little bit siding with Allie Joe and the things, but it didn't irk her enough to say anything. Where like
No.
Carolina now has. But
Well, Zoe's making sure to get in Juliana's good graces because
maybe
she backed her up and said, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
yeah.
So
I don't know. It was just I was like, wait a second. I thought everyone was still kind of not so great with Zoe, but yeah, she
guess
seems
not
fine
anymore.
now.
which is
It's called
crazy.
Carolina.
But I totally didn't even hear the part of him saying he was going to give Rose the rose. But I don't understand why he would do that. I don't even think she redeemed herself that much from before to deserve it.
Yeah, unless I'm pretty sure I heard that. Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like there was anything, but I don't know. Maybe he just kind of felt bad, or they to get past that whole issue and try to move forward.
Yeah, well, Rose does try to make up for what happened last week a little bit. And also, Grant gives Parisa rocks from Spain and says, I got this for you because I know you like to collect rocks from all the different places that you travel. So, and
Yeah,
she's
which
really
that was really
touched.
nice of him, and she really liked that, and yeah, that was a nice gesture.
Yeah. So you can imagine the shock on her face when it comes time for roses.
Yeah, right, because they didn't even show him getting a gift for anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets this, and then she gets axed.
And you said, well, maybe it's like a little friendly gift or something.
Well, no, I was just saying, it seems like their connection was just more amicable than.
He's like, I'm going to get rocks from my pal Parisa.
Yeah. I don't know.
So let's continue on. Let's wrap up this Carolina Juliana thing. So the next night, Grant pulls Juliana and wants to talk to her about the Carolina stuff. And Juliana explains that Carolina has seemed a little bit ungrateful since her and Grant have spent time together. And she had nothing positive to say about their date from last time, just negativity and judgment for Grant. And this does not sit well with Grant. So then he pulls Carolina. And then Grant says, I'm concerned with the things I've heard about you. And he doesn't like that she questioned his character. And Carolina just explains that she cares for him and she wants them to figure things out together in this quick amount of time. And then Grant makes a good point and he says, how about come to me with any doubts that you have directly and don't talk about this to the other women? And she agrees. So that's really how it should have been handled in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, it's just like she has no sense of talking about this stuff. Is just, I guess she wants to chime in or something because of the other people are all talking about this. But I mean, you've had the most. There's really not much for you to say. It's just stay quiet at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, basically keep your mouth shut and just talk to me. And that's it.
Yeah.
The end. So she tells the women, the conversation went well, but I don't have any hope for tonight. And then Dina starts crying with Carolina.
This was interesting because it seems like all of a sudden Dina was in support of Carolina, because there is a little thing where she says, "Well, I kind of understand her and get her point of view," and I think she's just kind of misunderstood. So she seems to be in her court with this issue.
Yeah, and Carolina's like, it's so nice to have someone who understands me. Thank you so much. And they're getting emotional. So I think everyone's just getting really emotional.
Yeah, and it's still pretty early on, which is pretty wild for it to be this early. I don't
Yeah.
know. Seeing all this is like, man, I really missed the days of the Gold
Golden
Bachelor.
Bachelor.
There was none of this. It was great.
We are the Mansion Men, the Golden Season Mansion Men.
Yeah. Now we have all this ridiculous drama.
Yeah, it's definitely worlds different.
Which I just would, and just a quick thing, because when you fast forward to the preview, you showed Dina is then having a talk with Carolina about like how she's upset with everything. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how she's kind of flipping on her
Yeah, I think.
come time forward. So
Oh,
yeah, in the preview in the future episode, they show a tidbit of Dina having like a confrontation with Carolina about the
Oh.
whole thing. So it's like even Dina is
now she's turning.
tired of
She's tired of it.
her stuff.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to see how that pans out. That's
Yeah.
sad. Her one ally.
Yeah.
So Rose says she talked in private to Carolina last week, and now she's pretty mad at her. And she starts calling her out for airing out what they talked about in private together. And Rose said, Carolina backstabbed me. And then she said her infamous line, "You did me dirty," that they keep showing on all the previews.
Yes.
She finally said it.
She did.
And then Rose goes crazy. She gets really emotional and she says, I just don't want to be here anymore. I just can't handle this anymore. And then she gets up. She starts pacing around. It's almost like she's having a panic attack. And then she immediately meets with Grant and tells him she hit a breaking point today because of what Carolina said to Grant about Rose. She doesn't think that they can progress forward in their relationship anymore. And then in the next scene, we see that she left the mansion.
Yeah, so I just want to say one quick thing about the statement. Well, going into this, I finally saw, here's the purple dress. So then I knew that it had to happen at this point in time. But
so we're just counting down the moments until it happened.
yeah. Well, and then at first I was thinking, well, it either has to be to Carolina or to Juliana. Either because Juliana, maybe she did to Juliana because if Juliana had brought up the whole frustration, then. But and I thought too, maybe Grant would have said, I was going to give you the rose or something. But
it's weird because we didn't get to see their whole conversation.
Yeah, but it ended up being Carolina that she said it to, which made more sense anyway. But yeah, and she really seemed to just completely shut down here. It was pretty intense. And yeah, I was shocked that they didn't show any of the footage of their conversation.
The only thing they showed was she doesn't think they can progress forward in their relationship anymore after everything that has happened. And then it's like they shut the cameras off on them. And then she's zooming out in a car after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think she kind of thought that too much damage had been done compared to the other girls. Like, that was already like a stake in their connection, and no other girl had anything like this going on. So I think she kind of knew she was probably going to stay towards the back for the remainder of the time anyway.
It would have been a lot of hard work to
Yeah.
take herself out of the
Yeah.
hole she was in. So
And
she's gone.
yeah. Yeah, so she voluntarily leaves and
She resigned.
she's no more.
She can't collect unemployment.
Yes.
She wasn't
Indeed.
fired.
Right. She voluntarily left.
So it's time for the rose ceremony. And the roses go to Lydia, Juliana, Alex, Zoe, and Carolina.
I have to say, I'm shocked that, well, not shocked, but it was interesting to see that it was outside and then all of the women had
Coats.
jackets over the
Yeah.
dresses.
I was
Like I
like,
was
how
like,
cold is it out here?
yeah, I was thinking, man, they really couldn't have,
Moved inside somewhere to
yeah,
film?
found anywhere inside to do this shot.
Maybe their permit got denied for inside that night.
Yeah.
So they had to do it on the street.
Well, it was like part of the place they were staying at. It looks like out in the courtyard or
Or
something.
maybe they
But
weren't planning for such cold weather.
yeah, but yeah. So that was I just noticed that and I was like, wow, that was
Pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see, these people get the rose and Parisa and Natalie are removed.
They're
And
removed. They got fired. Parisa
yeah.
and Natalie gone. But Natalie, we haven't heard from her in a while.
I mean, she won the one-on-one with the basketball thing.
hmm
And
Then she disappeared.
right, we kind of figured that it just didn't go. It just wasn't a romantic connection, I
Right.
think. I mean, she still stayed on, but yeah, I feel like we said that she definitely wasn't going to make it long term. And then Parisa did just kind of feel more amicable, it felt like,
Yeah, like a good friendship.
than, yeah, romantic. So,
So she's taking her rocks back home.
yes. And yes, Carolina is still in. And
So there's more Carolina drama to come next week.
yeah. Well, and we knew she made it because there's, in the previous episode, there was the big infamous, this line of where she's like, I guess I'm just the villain of this show or series.
Right,
or
and we
whatever.
hadn't seen that yet.
And that didn't happen. So,
But we saw it again in the preview that came up again.
yeah, which I think it happens next episode.
Yes.
But yeah, seeing the preview before, you knew that hadn't happened. So I knew she was getting the last rose. I also looked back and I finally did it and looked at the original preview.
Woo!
Like the
Let's
first
give a round of
episode.
applause to Joseph for looking back at the preview.
And then I saw too, like there's a helicopter shot with Grant and Juliana in it. So then I was like, all right, I know Juliana makes it at least till that episode, which that looked to be next episode. So that advantage will go away.
Yep.
I looked at the waters thing again. There's of him and a girl jumping in the water together, which I'm pretty sure that's got to be a finals clip. I think it's Juliana. It's a girl with dark roots and blonde edges, her tips. And
I need to look at this
I
closer.
think I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more to make sure of it, but just like first glance of it, I was like, I think it's Juliana. So I think she's my guess of at least making it to finals, but I'll have to, because I just kind of quickly looked at it before this, but
Yeah.
I need to do a little more
Okay. Well, that's
details. So, but anyway, knowing this and seeing this preview, I mean, they're starting to just narrow it. It looks like they're showing like one thing maybe that's in like a not directly the next episode, but to maybe make you think it is. But so there wasn't that much or a lot of what was shown or in this preview was a lot of actually was in the original preview. So it looks like Juliana gets the one-on-one date this next episode because the whole Cinderella thing.
Yes.
And it's a lot about her. And then it looks like we have a bunch more drama with Carolina not liking
Everybody turning on Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she is getting no support at this point. But then they also go to Edinburgh. So is this like normal that they travel this often?
I
don't think
was
so.
shocked. Scotland?
Yeah,
Wow.
so they go to Madrid one episode, now they're going to Scotland the next one. I mean, so they're like really traveling this episode or this season.
Yeah, actually I think on Jen's season they may have went to Australia and they went to New Zealand. I could be totally wrong, but I think they went to 2 places.
Yeah, so see, even if you don't even make it, it's like at least if you could at least make it far enough to get these free travels to check these spots
just
out.
go for the
free,
travel.
like, yeah, I mean, I don't know too, and then it's just like I don't know. I mean, there's just so much of the show that like the whole thing is just like a honeymoon phase
Yeah,
of
like,
everything.
and Grant's like, "Oh, and I planned this for us to do, and I planned this," and it's like, yeah, well, the producers mainly planned it
Yeah,
too, and they paid for all of it. And when you go out to the real world, are you going to just be able to jet set away to all these fabulous places and have all these crazy dates where you have private singers and musicians and eating dinner in a pool of water, and
yeah,
it's a lot. So yeah, I feel like that heightens all the love emotions, and then when you get to the real world and you're just going to pick up some Burger King, are you really going to like him as much?
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean,
You need to actually like the person where you'd be happy going to pick up Burger King together or something
yeah. I mean,
normal.
I could totally put on some emotion or tolerate travel in the world like that. But yeah, sure. Would I when it's back to reality?
I think that's the true test when you get back.
That's what I think is the issue with like this show in general. Is there's just
And
so
Love is
much
Blind.
of yeah, there's just so much of this insane luxury living that I think a lot of these people are not going to get access to or would have a very, tough time to do. So it just doesn't make the relationship, I feel like, plausible or as good. I mean, some still work, but I do think it's then because I think there is quite a couple when it's like, oh, we just went back to reality. And then it was just like things were,
Not the same at all.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then it's just like, well, yeah, of course. I
Because
mean,
you were on a high from all of the fabulous things you were doing.
yeah.
The outlandishly fabulous things that you wouldn't normally do in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And then it's, I mean, a lot of that is for the TV part of it. But yeah,
right.
I don't know. So anyway.
But I'm excited to see where they go in Scotland. I think that's going to be fun to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how things play out there. But yeah, we will wait till next week to see what happens there.
Your top 4, is it still the same? Our top 4. It still includes Juliana.
Yeah, so I think Juliana goes all the way. I think he picks her in the end if I had to
Whoa, whoa,
guess.
whoa. Okay. Go from first to fourth.
I don't know if I've always said that, but I feel like I've always thought that. Maybe I didn't say it.
No,
But
you haven't said it. So this is a new thought with Joseph. First place.
no, I always well, I don't want to say, oh, well, I saw the preview and I saw Juliana there. So but no, I mean
I saw her getting an
I
engagement
do
ring in the
think,
preview.
yeah, I saw her actually get picked in the preview.
Yeah. I saw their wedding in the preview.
I don't know. I feel like theirs has always been a good connection. It's not a. I think the slow burn thing is actually better in these two. These ones that burn quick, I think, are not good. And so,
But she hasn't had a one-on-one date yet.
yeah, but I think that's part of it. I mean, she's gonna get it next episode. But
Yeah.
I think he knows there's something there that would work well, and he has more confidence in that one, and he doesn't need to really test the waters with a one-on-one yet until now. But no, I think she's. I don't know. That's just my gut feeling with it. Is I think she'd be the one to take it all the way. I'd probably say Dina's number 2 because I do think that one's been pretty good. Then there's like what Serafina.
Seraphina's close to going home, if I had to guess.
He did mention this with that date that this slow burn is real now, or it feels
With
pretty
Serafina?
good. Yeah.
Do you
So
feel a chemistry between the two of them? I think there's more of a chemistry between him and like Lydia than Seraphina.
I don't think about. Oh, I forgot about Lydia. Yeah, Lydia's a top contender. Yeah, she would definitely be. Her and Dina, I think, are top contenders. Actually, Lydia, I forgot about her.
And what about Alex too? Well, Zoe's coming up there, but if I had to think of people possibly going home, it might be Zoe and Serafina. But I don't know. Carolina's like a wild card because there's so much drama around Carolina that she could possibly go home too at this point.
Well, it's either this he really does, and then if he's drawn to all these things that happen, and that I think is I think that's not good because I think that almost creates this toxicity between them going forward. So I think he'll probably eventually realize that it's just too much and let her go. So no, I don't think. I mean,
You don't think she makes it in top 4?
I think next episode will give me a better idea of that.
She was always in our top 4, right?
Yeah, but now that there's this consistent like doubt that she's displaying. I mean, right, it was introduced last episode, and now that it's continuing on this one and then even in the next, I'm feeling a change of heart because I don't know, it's either going to turn to like she's kind of the crazy one that he is just drawn to, or he's going to realize that it's just not good and break it off. I guess
Yeah.
I'll have to see how he handles things next go around before.
But for now,
Having
she's
better.
out of the top 4.
Yeah, I would. I mean, top 4 is too many people. That's just too many. I think top 3 is easier.
No. You have to do top 4.
Yeah,
So you
top
said
4 is just weird.
Juliana.
I mean, I would say Juliana, Lydia actually is, I think, a very strong connection. Alex, I feel like, is just kind of falling.
Yeah.
I don't
think that's as
feel
strong
that one's
anymore.
kind of fizzling. But
Well, then instead, it's like she was strong, but then now Dina's strong. So it's
yeah, but
hard.
I feel like Dina's kind of on the rise more. I mean, yeah, she had the one-on-one, but I do think he's kind of interested in that of even trying something new, right? Because he mentioned, her style. He just hasn't really dated in the past, but I think he may be open to trying that.
So Juliana, Dina, Lydia, and
But Juliana's top. I'd say Lydia's probably number 2. I don't know. Lydia could almost be number 1, but I don't know. I'll probably say Juliana first.
I feel like every time he sees her, he lights up Lydia. So I think
Yeah, I mean she's up there. So I don't know. They're pretty neck and neck. Dina and I don't know. Those are my top 3. Those are the main ones.
And
I'm
your
focused
4th,
on.
you have Alex, Zoe, and Carolina.
I don't know.
To me, I would think
Or Serafina. I guess
or
Serafina.
Sorry,
I guess
yeah,
Serafina would be. I guess her. Yeah.
I've written her off because I think she's going home next episode.
I don't know. Hers. Yeah. I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I would put Alex in the top 4 just to throw somebody up there, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe Serafina could grow. Zoe has a lot of growing to do as well. She started this episode.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is tough because it's like, the one-on-ones get all the attention, and then, like Alex and Zoe, they haven't had their one, or it's been a while, so, but they haven't really shown much of them either, so you really don't know, like, where, or really any even idea of where he is thinking about them, like in his lineup.
right.
So it is kind of hard to tell.
Time will tell. We'll have to see next episode what we think.
Yeah, that's why I think there's just too many people. But yeah, I think Juliana, Dina, and Lydia, at least, they're the 3 that they'd be my guess to at least make it to like finals or hometown or whatever.
And your 4th?
Yeah, the 4th. I don't really have a 4th.
But who would you put?
I guess Serafina, but I don't really count the 4th.
You think Serafina?
Why 4? Why is 4th? Like normally,
because there's
you have
4
top
hometowns.
3. Oh. Was there always 4 hometowns?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Remember when Joan was just forced to go on these hometown, like with Jordan, and she had no intentions of making it with Jordan?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel like it's going to be with him. I feel like the 4th one's just going to almost be like the straggler because he has to. Where
just
he
he's
has
forced
a
to.
much stronger with the 3 than
Remember Joan was just
Or
like, like awkward laughing and just hanging out like as friends.
yeah, yeah. All right. So anyway,
Anyway,
those are mine.
all right, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining yet another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yes, we hope you liked it, and check us out on our social media and follow us if you haven't already. And
Please.
we will check out Edinburgh, Scotland next week.
Yes, we can't wait for next week's episode of The Bachelor. So stay tuned with us, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you then.
Goodbye.
Ciao.